Hi everyone, and welcome back to my lesson. Today we're going to be working on percentage increase and decrease. So this is a topic that really the kids really struggle with. So it's a topic that we need to work quite slowly with so that we can make sure that the kids understand exactly what's happening and how to work out the following. Okay, so before we start, just to kind of give you a feel of it, percentage increase and decrease works when obviously you are increasing the price or decreasing the price of something, or maybe you are increasing or decreasing the number of a specific item. So just to kind of give you a feel for it, when you are increasing something, you're obviously making it bigger. Okay, so in terms of increasing the price of something, you're obviously going to make it more expensive. If we are going to decrease it by a certain percentage, obviously we're going to make the price lower or smaller. So decreasing, obviously we're going to reduce it, we're going to make it smaller. Okay, so that's just something just to bear in mind. And obviously when we're working with percentage, we're working with a percent of how much we are going to make it bigger, or the percentage of how big or how much smaller we're going to make it. Everyone understands the concept of a profit or a loss. So profit, obviously we're making more money, and obviously a loss is obviously when we lose money. We don't make any money off of that, or we lose money from it. So we need to understand that when we have a percentage increase, we're increasing the price and making it bigger, which is a chance of making more profit. If we are decreasing the price, chances are we're going to make less profit, and sometimes even make a loss. So we are decreasing the price and making it lower or smaller. Okay, so let's go into some examples to try and see how to work this out, and I'll show you step by step what to do. Okay, so the first question here is calculating percentage increase or decrease. And this is the first kind of question. It's a very simple and basic question, but let's see what we need to do. Zama buys a dress at a sale where there was a discount of 25%. If the price of the dress was 240 Rand, how much would she pay for the dress with the discount? Okay, so let's look at what we've got. Okay, so first of all, we know that she buys a dress that's on sale. We know that she gets a 25% discount. Okay, and we know that the price originally is 240 Rand. Now, when we see there's a discount of 25%, it means that we're going to take 25% of the value of the dress and take that away from it. Okay, so the first method we're going to use, and I'm going to show you two methods. Let's go with this. So we know we're working with 25%. So we're going to work out what 25% of 240 Rand. Okay, and the way we do it is, remembering percent means over 100. So we're going to do 25 over 100. Of means times. So we're going to times it, and we're going to have 240 Rand over 1. So remember, whenever we are working with fractions and we're timesing them, preferably have them both as a fraction. It makes it easier, and it makes it a better way of making sure that you get the right answer. Okay, so because this is a whole number, we don't need, if we want to make it a fraction, we have to just put it over 1. Okay, now remember, with multiplying fractions, we can simplify first. Let's see if we can make the numbers a little bit smaller to work with. And we go with this. So I can see 25 and 100. 25 can go into 25 once. 25 can go into 100 4 times. Okay, so we're left with 1 over 4 there. I can also see that 4 can go into 240. And the way I can see it is that if I just block off that 0, okay, you can see that 4 can go into 24. And 4 goes into 24 6 times. With a 0, it makes it 60. So 240 and 4 goes into 240 60 times. And now I'm left with 1 over 1 and 60 over 1. So I times top with top, bottom with bottom. And you're going to notice I get 60 Rand. Okay, so all I did, I simplified the 25 over 100 to 1 over 4. I could see that the 4 could go into 240 and make it a 60, times top with top, bottom with bottom. And that is my discount. So 25% of 240 Rand is 60 Rand. Now that's not the end of it. That's just the discount that Zama has received. So remember, it says that Zama buys a dress at a sale and she gets a discount of 25%. We need to make sure, it's my computer there, we need to try and work out how much did she pay for the dress in total at the end of it. So what we do now is we take the 240, so this is the original price of the dress. and we take 60 Rand off. And if we minus it, you're more than welcome to do a sum on the side, a subtraction sum if you can't do this in your head, but you'll notice that it comes up to 180 Rand. Now obviously in a normal shop, where you obviously go and buy your clothing or any items, if there is a sale or there is a discounted price, all that you do is you go there, they scan it, and automatically the price comes off. You'll see it on your till slip. Obviously for us at this point, we're doing it manually, we're doing it by hand, and it's a good idea for you to be able to do this on your own as well, so that you can work out if you can or can't afford it. So for example, if Zama only had 200 Rand and she wanted to buy this dress, and there's a discount of 25%, by working it all out, we know that Zama has enough money then to get her dress. Okay, for 180 Rand, she'd actually have 20 Rand left over. Okay, alright, so let's go to the next one very quickly. And you see this one's a definite percentage increase and decrease sum. Okay, so calculate the percentage increase if the price of a bus ticket of 60 Rand is increased to 84 Rand. Now, whenever you get this kind of question where you are calculating the percentage increase or the percentage decrease, what I want you to do is to write down which is the original price and which one's the new price. Okay, and the reason why I want you to do this is because then you can identify which one's the old price, which one's the new price, and it's going to help you with your method later on. Okay, so we know that the price, we've got a percentage increase. So the price was originally 60 Rand and it has increased to 84 Rand. So my original price is 60 Rand and my new price is 84 Rand. And we want to work out what that increase was and what the percentage of that increase was. So the way to work out what the increase was is to minus the two. So we're going to take the new price minus the original price, and you're going to get 84 Rand minus 60 Rand. Now that's quite nice and easy, and we get 24 Rand as a difference. Okay, now we need to work out, remember the question's asking us, what is the percentage increase if the price ticket has increased from 60 to 84 Rand? So we've worked out what the difference is. Now what we do is we take that difference and we put it over the original amount. Now that's why I wanted you to write this part. We need to know which is the original and which is the new price, because we've increased the price by 24 Rand on the original price. So if we take these two numbers and put them over each other, then we're going to be able to find out the percentage. Okay, so all we've done is we've taken the two prices, we've subtracted them, and we've got the difference. Now what we do is we're going to take that difference and put it over the original price of 60 Rand. Okay, and now to find the percentage, what do we always do? We always have to times by 100 over 1. This is your method of finding a percent, times 100 over 1. Okay, so we've taken the difference, put it over the original amount, and now to find the percentage, we're going to times by 100 over 1. Now let's see what we can do here, if we can see anything that we can do to make this easier to work with. Okay, so I can see that we can divide here. Okay, I can also see I can take a 6 away, a divide by 10, so I can take a 0 away here. So if I divide by 10 that side and divide by 10, I'm left with 6 and 10. Okay, I can also see that 6 goes into 240. So 6 goes into 6 once. 6 goes, not 240, sorry, 24. 6 goes into 24 4 times. And now we're left with 4 over 1 times 10 over 1. Times top with top, bottom with bottom. 4 times 10 is 40. And that's a 40% increase. So if you look at this question, it says you calculate the percentage increase if the price of a bus ticket is 60 Rand and it's increased to 84 Rand. We worked out the difference between them, so how much more did it go up by? We took that number and put it over the original amount, times by 100 over 1 to get your percentage. We simplified where we could to make it easier to work with, times top with top, bottom with bottom, and we get 40%. Okay, let's go on to another one. So these questions are quite challenging to some people, and it doesn't matter if you are struggling with these. These ones take a little bit of time, so you have to practice them. There is a lot to remember. So remember, you have to work out which is original, which one's new price. Then you got to work out the difference. And then you've got to remember to put the difference over the original price and then times by 101. So there are a lot of steps that you need to do, but you can actually do this, okay? And remember, maths, you have to practice and practice and practice. It doesn't just come after the first sum and then you A for away. Sometimes it happens and that's wonderful, but more often than not, we have to practice quite a bit in order for us to understand what to do for all questions. Okay, let's look at this next one. So Wandile bought a soccer ball for 200 Rand. He sold it to his friend and made a 10% profit. How much was his profit? So we know he made 10% profit and we know he bought the ball for 200 Rand. So if we want to work out what the profit is, it's going to be 10% of 200 Rand. We're going to work it out by making this a fraction, 10 over 100 times 200 over 1. This is a nice and easy sum. Okay, 100 goes into 100 once, 100 goes into 200 twice. We're going to times top with top, bottom with bottom, and you're going to notice we get a 20 Rand profit. So he makes 20 Rand on this ball. Okay, now just remember, he bought the soccer ball for 200 and he sold it to his friend and made a profit, which means he made money off of this. Okay, so he made an extra 20 Rand, okay, off this. Alright, so think about this for the next question. How much did his friend pay for the ball? So remember, the ball was originally 200 Rand. He made a profit of 20 Rand. So if we take out 200 Rand of the original price of the ball, we add his profits that he made. Okay, so we've got 200 plus 20, and you'll see that he sold the ball for 220 Rand. And obviously you would have your sentences, your close number sentence saying his profit was 20 Rand. And for this one, you'd say his friend paid 220 Rand for the ball. Okay, quite clever. Okay, so his friend obviously made money off of this. Okay, so he bought the ball, sold it for a little bit more, and made money off of it. Okay, all right, so his profit was 20 Rand at the end of the day. Okay, so some of the questions are quite easy. Sometimes you've got to think just a little bit, so not too much. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, the next one says, James has 1,200 Rand or 1,200 Rand. He saw a bicycle for 1,250 Rand. If he was given a 5% discount, would he be able to afford the bike? Show your working out. So now there's quite a bit of information here. Yeah? We're going to work out what do we need, what are we going to use, what information are we going to use for all of this. Okay, so we know that James was given, or he has 1,200 Rand that's available. He obviously saw this bicycle that he really, really wants for 1,250. And if you look here, you can see he already can't afford it because he's 50 Rand short. Okay, but perhaps he goes to the shop and he asks him, if I pay you cash, will you give me a discount? And the shop gives him a 5% discount if he pays it cash. Okay, so that's the kind of situation that you would be in with this word problem. Okay, now, would he be able to afford the bike if he has a 5% discount of his 1,250? Now, let's have a look. Okay, so we're going to work out 5% of 1,250 Rand. Okay, same as we always do, change it to a fraction of this times. And we're going to have our 1,250 Rand over 1. Okay, and now let's see what we can do. I'm just going to take a 0 off from a 0 because we can just do that. That's a bit easier. And you'll notice that I've got 5 and 10. Okay, 5 can go into 5 once, 5 can go into 10 twice. And now I'm left with 1 over 2 and 125 1. Okay, so we're going to times top with top, bottom by bottom, bottom with bottom, and let's see what we land up with. So we've got 125. 1 times 125 is 125. 2 times 1 is 2. Let's see what we're left with. Okay, now we've got this fraction that's really top heavy. Now we need to simplify it. Okay, so 2 can go into 125 62 times. Okay, so 62. Because remember 62 and 62, if I times it by 2, I'm going to get 124. And I've got half left over, or 1 left over of that. Now, we don't normally write 62.5 rand. Okay, now that looks a bit weird, hey? That doesn't look right. Okay, because we don't ask questions like that, so we don't ask for, when we go to the shop and they say to us, oh, your total is 62.5 rand. We don't get that. Okay, but I just wanted to put it there so you can see it. Now, what is half of 1 rand? It's going to be 62 rand 50. Okay. Now, what you could have done if you really wanted to is to actually change the 1,250 into cents if you wanted to. Obviously, your answer would then will be finalized into cents, and you'd have to convert back to rands. I like this method because I think here in grade 7, you guys are clever enough to be able to change this to 50 cents. Okay, you know that half a rand is 50 cents, and you can write it. Okay, so now let's check. It says here, so we've worked out what 5% of 1,250 rand is. And it says, will you be able to afford it? So what do we have to do next? Okay, so let's take the bike amount that he wants to buy is 1,250. They told us that if he'll be given a 5% discount. Let's check if this works. So we've worked it out, minus 62 rand 50. And let's see what our answer is. Now, if you can't do this in your head, there is no harm ever in doing a sum. Now, just be careful with this though, because remember we've got 1,250 rand and this one's got cents involved. Can you see the comma? So I'm just going to add 2 zeros on. Okay, see the number hasn't changed, still exactly the same. And then I'm going to make sure that everything is underneath the correct column. Okay, obviously you would use a ruler. Sorry, I'm not using a ruler today. Okay, 0 minus 0 is 0. Can't do that, can't, just need to borrow. And then we'll make that 9, and that's a 10. So that's 5, and that's a 7. 4 minus 6 I still can't do. Let's borrow again. That's 8, and 1, and 1. And you're left with 1,187 rand and 50 cents. Does he have enough money? Absolutely. 1,200 rand would definitely be able to cover that. Okay, so yes, he would be able to afford the bike because the bike will now cost 1,187.50 with his 5% discount, and he would actually even get some change as well. So that's quite a nice little question as well. Now there was one question that I haven't written down. I'm going to just show you quickly. So it's just going to be handwritten, so I hope you don't mind. Okay, so there was a question that says you've got calculate the percentage decrease. Okay, so we're going to work with a percentage decrease. I'm just going to write it in shorthand. I hope you guys don't mind. Okay, percentage decrease of books that were 550 rand and they've now gone down to 330 rand. Okay, so that was the question. Calculate the percentage decrease if the shop had to now sell the books that were 550 rand and they've brought it down to 330 rand. Okay, now you'll notice this a percentage decrease. Why? Because the price has gone down. Okay, we know we're working with a percent. So remember, we need to find the percent. So we're going to times by 100 over 1. Okay, so remember there's lots of little steps here. Okay, so we've got 550 rand and we've got 330. Let's work out which one's the original price and which one's the new price. So I know my original price is 550. And I know the 330 is the decrease, so that's your new price. Because remember, it's a percentage decrease, so the price must have gone down. So that's your original price and your new price. Okay, now remember carefully. We want to see how much percentage, or what percentage have we decreased this by. So we need to work out the difference. Okay, so the difference is going to be 550 rand minus 330 rand. And then obviously we minus those. Feel free to do a sum if you need it, and you get 220 rand. Okay, so we know that we have to find the difference first. Okay, now what do we do? Okay, now we have to take that number, that difference, and put it over the original amount. And remember, the original amount was 550 rand. we need to find the percent, so we're going to times by 100 over 1, and that's what we're left with at the moment. Okay, let's go quickly here. Okay, so I can see I can divide by 10 top and bottom there, and I can take away my zeros. I can also see that 22 can be divided by 11, and so can 55. So 22 divided by 11 is 2, 55 divided by 5. Divided by 11, sorry, is 5. And we're left with 2 over 5 times 100 over 1. Okay, if you are happy with that, you could possibly carry on and answer your sum and then get an answer. But I can see something further. I can see 5 can go into 100. 5 can go into 5 once, 5 can go into 120 times. You see how much easier it is the more you simplify. But obviously you can only simplify if there is something to actually simplify at the end, okay? You can't just simplify just for the sake of it, okay? It's got to actually work out. Okay, so now we've got 2 over 1, 20 over 1. We're going to times top with top, bottom with bottom. 2 times 20 is 40. 1 times 1 is 1. I'm not even going to write it. And remember, we're working for a percentage. That is your percentage. So, the percentage decrease from 550 Rand to 330 Rand is going to be a 40% decrease. How did I get that? Remember, we found the difference between the two prices. We put that answer, so that difference, over the original amount. Okay, and then what we did was we took, we times by 100 over 1 to find the percentage, simplified where we could, and we got 40% as an answer. Okay, so this is something that you'll have to just practice. Okay, it's always a good idea to practice these questions because sometimes they are easy and sometimes they're not. But yeah, keep up the same for percentage increase and percentage decrease. The same steps are needed, so you do exactly the same every time. Identify your original price. Okay, so here's another question that I found in one of the textbooks. It says that a shopkeeper pays 50 Rand for an umbrella. Okay, for an umbrella, we're going to do it quite quickly. Okay, he eventually obviously can't sell it, and he eventually sells it for 35 Rand. Okay, you need to work out his percentage loss. Okay, so work out his percentage loss. This can also be seen as a percentage decrease, okay, because he's decreased the price from 50 Rand to 35 Rand. So it's exactly the same concept, it's just obviously different wording. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same as we've done with all the others. Okay, so we know he paid 50 Rand for the first lot, so that is your original price. Your original price is 50 Rand. Shame, poor guys to now sell it for 35 Rand. It's probably a dry season, so no one wants to buy an umbrella at this stage. Okay, so we've got 50 Rand, 35 Rand. Remember the next step? We need to find the difference. Okay, so we've got the difference is 50 Rand minus 35 Rand. Okay, if you work that out, you'll find it's 15 Rand. Okay, now what do we do? Okay, remember we take that difference and we put it over the original amount. Remember, the original amount is the amount that you used from right in the beginning. Okay, so it's the number that you bought from the shop or whatever initially. Okay, so say this man, obviously with his shop, he must have bought a whole lot of umbrellas for 50 Rand each. Okay, trying to sell them for maybe a little bit more. He hasn't been able to sell them, so he has to sell them for 35 Rand. In order to just make some form of money, but he is still making a loss. So remember, the original amount is 50 Rand. So we're going to put 15 over 50. Remember, we're working out the percentage, so it's going to be times 100 over 1. Okay, and now let's see what we can do. Now, always try and find the simplest way of simplifying, so the easy ones, okay? It doesn't matter which one you use, as long as you've got one numerator and one denominator. But try and look for the most obvious ones, because those are always the ones that are going to help you. Okay, I can see a 50 and 100. So 50 can go into 50 once, 50 can go into 100 twice. Okay, and now I don't have anything else to simplify. I can now times top with top, bottom with bottom. 15 times 2 is 30%. So he lost 30% of his money. by having to reduce the price or down to 35 Rand. Okay, so that is it for percentage loss and percentage increase and decrease. I hope it makes more sense. Feel free to contact me if you need any help, and I will gladly help you where I can. Okay. All right. Hope you have a great day, and I will be back soon.